Hi, I'm going to glaze this mug today. I like the soft, sweet Victorian colors and the ones I have here. So I've got my selection of very light colors over here, okay? And I've got them already poured out in my little containers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put really tiny brushes to do the tiniest parts and more medium-sized brushes to do, you know, more of the fuller blossom areas. So I've got my lilac here, and this is glaze. Glaze is a glass coating, so it's made up of silica sand and frit and oh goodness, now I'm not remembering all the names of all the things that are in my glazes because I stopped making glazes a long time ago. The commercial glazes that are offered are so good now. I like to just order them and have them shipped ready-made and ready tested, and all I do is make a little test tile of them when I get them and have them ready for my students to use. And I get to enjoy all these bright, many beautiful colors, deep and intense, soft and elegant. Just such a variety of commercial glazes are available nowadays, so I take advantage of that. It saves me a lot of time. So all I'm doing is dipping my brush in the little liquid glaze, and I'm kind of dabbing it and patting it into the petals because it's kind of hard to like use actual brush strokes. So I'm just kind of dabbing and patting it into all the petals, and these glazes are so good that I don't have to do the brushing of 3 solid layers on these little tiny parts because I'm dabbing and poking. I got a nice little gob of glaze on there, and that is going to end up in between these petals, and it'll still come out nice and lilac-y looking in color when it comes out of the kiln. I'm just kind of poking and dabbing because these petals are so small. Usually when you're using a paintbrush you have to brush back and forth or up and down. I can't really do that with these little tiny petals. So I'm just going to keep picking different colors and dabbing into all of the petals, poking glaze in there. It's kind of layering up to 3 layers as I poke in there anyway, and I keep saying 3 layers because whenever glazing, something to get the true intensity and the true gloss of the glaze as it's meant to be, you're told always to do 3 layers of glaze. That makes it food safe too and actually seals it. So we do have to be careful about that. All right, so I like to mix it up a little bit and have different colors on each flower. So I've got my soft pink right now. And like I said before, I had lilac on the other ones. And I'm just going to do, you know, kind of look at it and balance the colors here and there as I go. Just kind of poking it in. One more over here yet. I think I'm going to go back to some more of that lilac color. Which one? There we go. That's the one I saw that I wanted to add lilac to. So it looks a little messy, but it truly does stay where you put it and just liquefies and smooths out to the surface when you fire it. But I do have to be careful. I don't want to get lilac all over my leaves. You know, you're seeing me be careful not to spread it all over. So now I've got my green to do my leaves. And because these are flatter and more broad, I am going to layer that glaze up a little bit more. I am brushing it on and not doing as much poking and bouncing with the brush. Trying to be careful not to spread the color in the wrong area. Some of these tricky spots underneath and in little nooks and crannies. Sometimes I'll use little broken brushes, brushes that don't have a handle, because then I can get them into these smaller areas where it's just bristles on a ferrule. There we go. Getting there, getting there. I gotta hide, oh, see what I did there? So I'll just wet that and it rubs right off. That's the cool thing about glaze. If you get it where you don't want it, it's so easy to wash off. Now I'm holding my arms up in the air just for the sake of getting a good view with the camera, but a lot of times I'm resting my arm on the table, keeping myself really steady, resting my brush hand on the table also. There we go. So I just got two slightly gobby layers of color on those items. And whenever I rinse the brush, I like to get that excess water out. So I just squeeze the bristles in my fingers. So now I'm going to do these little doodads with the yellow, just to have a popping accent. So I got pink and lilac flowers with yellow swirls and dots. And then green leaves. There's a nice little surprise decoration right down here. So I want to get that too. And I'm back to poking and blobbing it on a little bit. And I say blobbing, but I'm not like blobbing gobbing. I am dabbing with the end of a tiny brush so that I stay where I need to. Okay, I'm seeing a couple of spots that I want to touch up that I missed. You're probably seeing a whole bunch because you have a better view than I do actually. So I'm going to get those little areas touched up here. And then we'll use a broad brush, a broad fan brush to do the whole mug. Excellent. Cool, cool, cool. Tiny spot there. There. Okay. So now the cool part, there's many cool parts. I just love this. It's so therapeutic. It's so rewarding to be able to make pretty things. But another cool part about this is that I am going to use, this is called Sea Spray Glaze. I'm going to use that on the whole thing. And I'm going to accidentally get it on my flowers, and it's okay. It's such a soft, subtle color that it only alters the glaze color of the flowers a tiny bit, and it kind of blends it all together. So I'm very excited about this color. I can just go over it. And so if I missed anything in my details when I was doing the pink and the lavender and the yellow, it doesn't really matter. And I love that I have a fan brush because I can go over and swoop so nicely. And notice I'm going around and around because my throw lines go around. I want to follow the throw lines. I certainly will not go up and down with my brush stroke because that would show up. It would really show brush stroke marks when it comes out of the kiln if I went up and down. So I really want to follow the grain of the clay. Just like when you're sanding wood, you follow the grain of the wood. And when you're varnishing and finishing wood, you always follow the grain of the wood. You're going to do the same thing with your thrown pottery. There we go. So that's already one layer. Yeah. Okay. Just get it on the flowers a little bit. Smooth it out. Oh my goodness, and underneath the handle, oh, that's where people miss all the time. So I'm gonna make sure that I get in there. Poking and dabbing and applying it kind of generously, but smoothing it out. I don't want it to drip and blob anywhere. There we go. So now I just have to do a couple more layers, letting it dry in between each. And then while that's drying on the outside, I can switch to glazing the inside of the piece. And again, going around and around. It's so much easier to go up and down, start at the bottom, and come out to the top in a vertical line. But I want to exaggerate the throw lines and not make these vertical streaks in my rounded mug. Getting all the way down in there. So once it's dry, I'm going to do the exact same thing just with my sea spray 2 more times before I put it in the kiln. Thanks for watching.